Evero is coming back. The defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers is coming back despite a new head coach, despite a GM being promoted from assistant GM. He's coming back, and he's keeping most of his defensive staff with him. As a football scheme, it's a good decision. As a football scheme, Evero is good. Although I do think some of the stats that everybody touts out there, right, fourth best in yards allowed this past year, is a little skewed by the fact that the Panthers were just never leading in the second half. So teams were never gunning and taking chances. But that's not even the part I'm focusing on mostly. I'm going to watch closely for the social dynamics of how this coaching staff is going to play out. First of all, give credit to Joe Person of The Athletic. He was the first I saw reporting it. Ejiro Evero is staying with the Panthers. Most of his defensive coaching staff also is expected to return. That's the first place I saw it, so hat tip to him. But how do the returning defensive players react to Evero, their guy, interviewing for the head coaching job and not get it? And instead, the job going to this high-energy, who's he from Tampa, Dave Canales. That's what I want to see, right? Let's say Derek Brown is still around, right? Let's say they don't trade him, and I don't think they will. Let's not to say I don't think they should, but hey, another question for another day. Let's say Derek Brown is around. When Dave Canales is up at top of the front of the meeting room making some request or some plan, does Derek Brown look to Evero like, are we going with this? Coach, you agree with him? Is there that, hey, everybody's more loyal to Evero than Canales style thing? And more importantly, does Evero want to listen to Canales? Because Evero, let's be real, what was it, the second to last game of the year? Evero held Dave Canales' offense to 9 points.
Last game of the year, actually.
Last game of the year, there you go. Felt like the second last. Maybe it felt so long, felt like 2 games. Held them to 9 points. Just because the Panthers didn't score any offensively doesn't mean that Evero didn't just pretty much, eat Dave Canales' lunch, take his lunch money. How does the rest of the defensive coaching staff listen to Canales? Or are they more loyal to their old boss, who's still their boss, kind of middle manager in Evero? This is a very, very, very big step, big test of Dave Canales' ability to lead. You have to galvanize guys that have been together longer than you, right? They've been around, they've known each other, they've done their thing since before you were around. Can you get them to rally around you? Because Evero and Canales, they've gone against each other as coaches a ton. They were in the same division out there in the West, and then last year they were in the same division in the NFC South. So both as position coaches and then as coordinators, they're very familiar with each other from a I watch film of your unit all the time style of relationship.
But it's obvious that Canales does respect Evero because going into that last game of the season, he spent about 2 minutes when a reporter asked him, how difficult is it to scout Carolina's defense?
There's no doubt in my mind Canales respects the defensive scheme and the defensive mind of Evero. That's 50% of it, right? The other 50% is fit. The other 50% is personalities, right? It's ability to communicate with each other, understand and trust each other quickly. Right, when Evero is calling a defense, okay, and it's the fourth quarter and it's close and it comes down to, big overarching themes. Are you going to blitz? Are you going to take the chance? Are you going to sit back? Are you going to play prevent? Canales has to be able to, right? You see coaches all the time, they have their headset on and they have their hand back there like it's on a holster pressing buttons. Canales has to be able to switch over to the defensive frequency and just go, hey, bring the noise. Click. And Evero has to be able to execute that without going, why would I bring the noise? Why would I bring pressure? Why would I do that right now? The smart move is to sit back. And the reason you have to bring the pressure is because the head guy wants you to bring pressure.
Yeah.
And guess what? Wins and losses, they go on head coaches' resumes. right? You see record as a head coach. You know what you don't see? Record as a defensive coordinator. You see points allowed. You see those sorts of things. Other stats get attached, but not wins and losses. They don't have any experience in the same building, at least as far as I could tell. I went back as far as I could in their careers. Right? Never been on the same staff, maybe in camps or something in the offseason, but this is going to be a test of the magnetism, of the authentic personality, right? Everything they say about Dave Canales, he's walking into the deep end. Right? I don't want to say it's easy because leadership always has its challenges, and trying to galvanize a group always has its challenges. But when everybody is new, it is much easier to just step into a leadership role, right? Be the loudest voice in the room, say, I'm the head coach. But what about when, as recently as like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe everyone on the defense was rooting for Evero to get the head coaching job. Right? They might have been pulling for him. They might have said, that's our guy. He made me look good. He gave up the fourth fewest yards. Like we understand him. I don't want to go in a new system. I want him to be the defensive coordinator and the offense or the head coach.
We held our end of the bargain all season.
That's our guy. And then he didn't get the job. And they may have even texted him, bummer, dude. You deserved it. And then guess what? Now they have to go, all right, this guy that we weren't rooting for is now the head coach, and you're still around? Well, I might, it strikes me like this. This might be the perfect, maybe not perfect, but it's exactly the vibe I'm going for, and I hope this will illustrate it. In youth sports, you ever seen the kid out there? Well, we'll use basketball because to me it's the obvious example. Like, middle school basketball, there's the coach talking to the team, and there's always the one kid who coming out of every timeout looks for his mom or dad up in the stands. Right? And
yes.
And whatever the coach just told them to do, if the mom and dad says do something else, they're doing the something else.
Shoot the ball, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, the coach in the huddle, we're going to run a motion offense. I need you to pass and cut, set the screen the screener. Then you're walking out of the huddle, you look up to mom and dad, when you get the ball, drive and shoot, take it to the hoop. Then they grab the ball, take it to the hoop. Coach is going, no, there has to be one voice for the big things. Is it like that, right? Where Dave Canales says something and Evero says something else because, hey, it should have been my job. I should have been the head coach. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying I think that's more likely when you are not all coming in new at the same time. Here's how I think Canales might handle it. And this might be the toughest thing for Canales to do. Truly be a hands-off head coach on the defense. This might be the first team meeting for Dave Canales. Men, we're going to work, right? He's going to do the whole Pete Carroll thing. We're going to work. We're going to have fun. We're going to bring a new energy. Win, win, win. Fight, 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 right? He's going to do that whole thing. And then this is how he might end it. Any offensive questions? My door is always open, right? You have a question with the offense, come see me. We'll talk it out. Suggestion, anything. Any defensive questions, you're going to see my guy Double E over there. You're going to see Evero. His door will always be open, right? Offense, defense, siloed. Difference. He's the leader of the defense. I'm the leader of the offense. I'll call timeouts on game day. That's just because I have HC next to my name, head coach. But other than that, we're two separate beasts. He might do it that way. And then the temptation falls on Canales because then you have to back that up, right? You can't have the movie quotes because Graham's here. Remember the Titans, right? Where Herman Boone, Denzel starts mouthing off to Coach Yost a little bit. Worry about your defense, coach. I'll worry about my offense. Those types of things can't happen. You have to truly be a CEO. I've appointed him my middle manager of defense. I'm going to let him run the show. Either way, if they can get their schemes working together, could be a nice little combination. However, if the social dynamics are a little bit rocky, I wouldn't be surprised with that either.
Team Evero versus Team Canales. You hope that's not the case, but it will be interesting if you're a defensive player to go from, man, I used to hate scouting against this guy's offense to now I got to listen to him as my head coach.
Or maybe it was, hey, when we played against this guy's offense, it wasn't that difficult. We gave up 9 points.
That's also true.
Maybe there's that too.